For example, players in the field, they are moving at a very high speed. Exactly. So we need to capture them. All right, welcome back to the episode 2 of the chemistry exam revision series. See you guys there. The first question says the quotient of the ratio of 0.693 to the decay constant is dash. Option A, neutron number. Option B, decay constant. Option C, radioactivity. Option D, half-life. I want you to know that this question is under what is called nuclear chemistry. Under what is called what? Nuclear chemistry. Now, if you look at that, they mention the term quotient. Now, before I explain this, I want you to understand something. There are 3 terms I would like you to know. One of them is what is called quotient, and that is what is called divisor, and that is what is called dividend. What is called what? Dividend. So we have dividend, divisor, and what? Quotient. Now, if you have a fraction, something like this, A over B, the one that you are dividing is called the dividend. It's called the what? The dividend. The one that you are using to divide that number is called the divisor. Exactly. The answer you will obtain after dividing them is what is called the what? The quotient. Exactly. So a quotient is the result you will get anytime you divide a number with another. Exactly. Now the question says the quotient of the ratio of the what? Of 0.693. 0.693. That's what they have there. 693. To that of the what? Decay constant. The symbol of decay constant is lambda. This symbol. Exactly. The symbol of decay constant. Does that make sense? All over the decay constant is equal to what? Are you with me? So this ratio is equal to what is called half-life. What is called what? Half-life. Exactly. So what is the half-life? Half-life simply means the time it will take, exactly, for a radioactive substance to decay to half of its original value. Exactly. The time it will take for a radioactive substance to decay to half of its what? Original value. Exactly. So you can say that half-life is inversely proportional to the what? Decay constant. So take note of this formula, that the half-life is equal to 0.693 all over what? Decay constant. All over what? Decay what? Constant. So in that question, the answer to that question is what? Half-life, which is what? Option D. But before we go into the next question, there is a question I want to ask you. If you have a radioactive substance that the decay constant is 0.231, a radioactive substance that the decay constant is 0.231, what is the half-life? Any attempts? What will be the half-life of a radioactive substance whose decay constant is 0.31? If you encounter that kind of question, you don't need to stress. Just apply this formula. You just say that the half-life will now be equal to 0.693 divided by what? 0.231. If you divide the presence in the calculator, automatically we get 3. Because 3 times 4 will give you 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 2 is what? 6. Exactly. So the half-life of such substance is equal to what? 3. Exactly. Does that make sense to you? Now let's go to the next question. The next question says the color of phenolphthalein in acidic solution is dash. Option A, yellow. Option B, orange. Option C, pink. Option D, colorless. Okay, now the question is under choice of indicators in neutralization reaction, acid, base, and salt. Exactly. Now, when we say the term neutralization, it's just a reaction that involves an acid and a what? A base. What will they give you? They will only give you what? 2 things. What are they? Salt and what? Water. Exactly. So in neutralization reaction, we normally use indicators, and those indicators are called acid-base indicators. Are called what? Acid-base indicators. And what are acid-base indicators? Acid-base indicators are those weak organic acid or bases that changes color depending on the pH of the word solution. Exactly. They are those words, weak organic acid and bases that changes color depending on the pH of the word solution. Exactly. And what are the examples of these acid-base indicators? And one of them is what is called phenolphthalein. What is called what? Phenolphthalein. Take note of the spelling. Most times, students normally follow the spelling. Phenolphthalein. Exactly. Next one is what is called methyl orange. What is called what? Methyl orange. We normally use this thing. Now my question is this: when are we going to use phenolphthalein? When are we going to use methyl orange? We use phenolphthalein when the reaction is between a weak acid and a strong base. When the reaction is between what? A weak acid and a what? A strong base. Weak acid, Wa, and a what? A strong what? Base. That is the one we are going to use what? Phenolphthalein. Exactly. But for methyl orange, we normally use methyl orange when the reaction is between a strong acid and a what? A weak base. Does that make sense to you? So which acid base indicator are we going to use between HCl and ammonium hydroxide? Remember, HCl is a strong acid. Start suspecting methyl orange. But what we are going to use between H2CO3 and sodium hydroxide, a strong base, we start suspecting who? Phenolphthalein. So once it is between a weak acid and a strong base, we normally use what? Phenolphthalein. Exactly. Another thing that we use to test you in exam is the color change of these indicators. What is the color in acid? What is the color in alkaline? And what is the color in neutral solution? Now look at this. The first you should take note of: in acidic solution, in alkaline solution, and in neutral solution. Neutral. What is the color? Now, we have indicators, phenolphthalein and methyl orange. This P represents phenolphthalein. The M represents what? Methyl orange. I will give you a code you use to remember them. The color of phenolphthalein in acidic, alkaline, and neutral solution, and the color of methyl orange in acidic, alkaline, and neutral solution. The color is given with the code. For phenolphthalein, I use the code phenolphthalein CPC. Phenolphthalein what? CPC. For methyl orange, I use the code PO. Exactly. Phenolphthalein CPC, methyl orange what? PO. Again, phenolphthalein what? CPC, methyl orange what? PO. So phenolphthalein C, P, and what? C. And methyl orange is what? P, Y, and O. That's why I said PO. Is that clear? So it simply means that in acidic solution, the color of phenolphthalein is what? Colorless. Phenolphthalein is colorless in acidic solution. Whereas in alkaline, the color is what? Pink. In neutral solution, it is also what? Colorless. But in the case of methyl orange, in acidic solution, it is pink. In alkaline solution, it is what? Yellow. In neutral solution, it is what? Orange. Does that make sense to you? Now, I want you to get something in mind. In some textbook, these places we have pink, you may see them writing red. Is that clear? So take note of that, please. Phenolphthalein is phenolphthalein CPC, methyl orange what? PO. Colorless in acidic solution, pink in alkaline solution, and colorless in what? In neutral solution. Is that clear? But this question is asking not the color of phenolphthalein is always dash. If you look at it, you notice that we always have this thing colorless, except in alkaline solution. Does that make sense to you? It's simply that phenolphthalein is usually colorless except in alkaline solution. That is, and it's usually at a pH between 8.2 to 10. At a pH between what? 8.2 to 10. That's where the color of phenolphthalein usually changes to what? Pink. Exactly. But in normal ground, it is usually what? Colorless. Does that make sense to you? Therefore, the correct answer to that question is option what? D, which is what? Colorless. Is that clear? Now let's move to the next question. The next question says the number of group 0 elements that is radioactive is dash. Option A, helium. Option B, radon. Option C, neon. Option D, krypton. And the question is under the periodic table. Exactly. They not mention every other group. They mention a particular group called the group 0. That is the same thing you call group 8. Some will call it group 18. While some will call it group 8A. Any one you see is the same thing. Exactly. So now you're going to list them one after the other so that we know the one they are looking for. The members in group 0 or group 8, group 0 or group 8, anyone you want to call it. Remember, this group, they are also called noble gases. They are also called what? Noble gases. At the same time, they are also called inert gases. They are also called what? Inert gases, because they are not what? Reactive. They are also called rare gases. They are also called what? Rare gases. Anyhow you want to call them. Exactly. Now, what are the examples? The example, we have the first person, we have helium. We have the next person, which is what? Neon. We have the next person, which is argon. We have the next person, which is krypton. We have the next person, which is what? Xenon. We have the next person, which is what? Radon. Don't think that these things are difficult to remember. Let's try to find a way to make it easier. We have the examples: helium, neon, and argon. Krypton, xenon, and radon. Helium, neon, and argon. Krypton, xenon, and radon. Again, helium, neon, and argon. Krypton, xenon, and radon. Is that clear? Now let's put their symbols with the atomic number. Helium, the symbol is what? He. One atomic number. Atomic number is what? 2. Next person is neon. The symbol is what? Ne. Is that clear? What's the atomic number? The atomic number is what? 10. Is that clear? Which is the next person? The next person here is argon. Ar. Is that clear? And what's the atomic number? Atomic number is what? 18. Next person is what? Krypton. Krypton is what? Kr. Right? And the atomic number is what? 36. Exactly. Next person is what? Xenon. And xenon is what? Xe. Right? What atomic number? The atomic number is what? 54. Exactly. What's the next person? The next person there is radon. And what's the symbol? Rn. Exactly. And the atomic number is what? 80 what? 86. Exactly. Now we have these. These are the members in the what? Group 0 of the periodic table, also called group 8A or group 18. Exactly. We are going to look at each of them one after the other. For helium, this helium is used in filling of balloon. In filling of what? Balloon. The question is why? Because it is light. But the question is, but helium is not the lightest known element. Hydrogen is lighter than helium. Why are we not using hydrogen in filling balloon? Why are we using helium? The reason is very, very simple. Because helium is not combustible. Exactly. It does not support combustion. Unlike what? Hydrogen, which can support what? Combustion. That is why we use helium in filling balloon. Take note of the two reasons. Because it is light and does not support what? Combustion. That is the reason we use helium in filling what? Balloon. Exactly. The next one we have there is what is called neon. Are you with me? So neon is used in what is called the aerodrome beacon. The aerodrome what? Beacon. The aerodrome beacon. Exactly. Which is used in airports. Exactly. It's just a rotating light that is placed at a very high point so that the pilots can easily locate the what? The airport. Exactly. So that's what we use neon for. It's used in what? The aerodrome beacon. Why? Because it can penetrate fog. Because of its high fog penetration. That's why we use neon in aerodrome what? Beacon. In case they ask you, which of the noble gases, which of the inert gases, which of the rare gases, which of the group 8 elements or group 0 elements is used in aerodrome beacon? The answer is what? Neon. Does that make sense to you? Now, another one we have there is what? Argon. Argon is used in gas-filled electric bulbs. It's used in what? Gas-filled electric bulb because it retards vaporization and prevents oxidation of the what? Filament. I repeat, that argon is used in what? In gas-filled electric bulbs. Why? It retards vaporization and prevents what? Oxidation of what? Filaments. Exactly. Now, the next one we have is krypton and xenon. These two, they are used together. Exactly. These two, the combination, mixture of krypton and xenon is used in photographers' flash tubes. In what? Photographers' flash tube. Why are they? What is the essence? The essence is to capture high-speed pictures. For example, players in the field, they are moving at a very high speed. Exactly. So we need to capture them at every point in time. Exactly. So this is the work of krypton and what? Xenon. So the noble gas used in photographers' flash tubes is what? Krypton and what? Xenon. The one used in aerodrome beacon is what? Neon. The one used in filling of balloon because of its lightweight and non-combustion is what? Helium. The one used in gas-filled electric bulbs is what? Argon. We have the last person there, which is what? Radon. Radon is the radioactive member of the group 0 element. It is used in the treatment of what? Cancer. If you take a look at that place, you look and remember that is radioactive. The one that is radioactive is what? Radon. With symbol Rn and atomic number what? 86. That means the answer to that question is what? Option what? B. Radon. Does that make sense to you? Now let's move to the next question. The next question says the mixture of gases used in photographer's flash tube is dash. Option A, argon and krypton. Option B, krypton and xenon. Option C, helium and argon. Option D, argon and xenon. From our explanation, you should know the answer already. Drop the answer in the comment section. Let's go to the next question. The next question says, a noble gas with high power of fog penetration used in aerodrome beacon is dash. Option A, helium. Option B, neon. Option C, krypton. Option D, argon. From the explanation so far, you should know the answer. Drop the answer in the comment section. Let's go to the next question. The next question says, which of these is an example of Lewis acid? Option A, NH3, ammonia. Option B, Cn- cyanide ion. Option C, HCl, hydrochloric acid. Option D, sodium ion, Na+. Alright, if you look at that question, most students will choose that HCl, exactly, that hydrochloric acid, because they said which of these is a Lewis acid. That concept acid, make most of them to choose HCl. But you need to understand this term. Lewis acid and procellauric acid, they are two different things altogether. Exactly. So what is the meaning of a Lewis acid? Now let's explain that. A Lewis acid and a Lewis base. According to Lewis, an acid is an electron pair acceptor. Exactly. While a base is an electron pair what? Donor. Exactly. So Lewis is defining acid and bases in terms of electron. In terms of what? Electron pair. Electron pair. Exactly. So according to him, an acid is an electron pair what? Acceptor. Electron pair acceptor. Why a base is an electron pair what? Donor. Exactly. Does that make sense to you? Now, if you must be a Lewis base, you must have an electron that you can donate. Exactly. If you must be a Lewis base, you must have electron pair that you can what? Donate. You can only donate something you are not using or when it is in excess. Exactly. Most molecules that have lone pairs of electrons, that have what? Lone pairs of electrons, usually serve as Lewis what? Bases. Exactly. For example, NH3, ammonia. In ammonia, it is found between nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atoms. Remember, nitrogen is element number what? 7. It has how many valence electrons? 5. So an hydrogen will come and bond on it. This is hydrogen, this is another hydrogen, another hydrogen. How many electrons are remaining? 2. So how many pairs? 1 pair. Exactly. So this NH3 has what? 1 lone pair of what? Electron. So it can serve as a Lewis what? Base. Exactly. Now look at this. Another person there is, look at this, cyanide ion. Now this ion is a negative ion. So this is called anion. This is called what? Anion. How do we form anion? Anions are the negatively charged ions, which are formed by what? Gain of electron. By what? Gain of electron. Does that make sense to you? Let me, this person, cyanide ion, have extra electron. So it has something it can donate. Does that make sense to you? So when you are an electron pair donor, are you an acid or a base? A base. So this cyanide ion is also serving as a Lewis what? Base. Exactly. In the option, we have HCl. We are not considering HCl because HCl here have hydrogen ion, which is serving as proton. And the person that is describing acid or base in terms of proton is Bronsted-Lowry. So this person is serving as Bronsted-Lowry acid. As what? Bronsted-Lowry acid and not a Lewis acid. In the other option, we have sodium ion. This is a positive ion. And positive ions are called what? Cations. Exactly. How do we form positive ion? These cations, they are positively charged ions, which are formed by a loss of what? Electron. By what? Loss of electron. So when you have lost your electron, you are now electron deficient. So you don't have electron to even donate. Instead, you end up accepting. So this sodium ion will serve as an electron pair what? Acceptor. And when you are an electron pair acceptor, according to Lewis, you are what? An acid. Does that make sense to you? That means sodium ion is serving as a Lewis what? Acid. Exactly. So the answer to that question is sodium what? Ion, which is option what? D. Does that make sense to you? If you find this video interesting up to this point, please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Also, don't forget to share our videos. See you guys on the next episode. Thank you.